But yeah, I can remember seeing a Final Cape Jawa in those toy shop magazines. And there's like $100, $200 maybe.
Yeah,
But then you had to write a check, you had to mail it, or a money order, wait 6 weeks. And you never know
right.
who's gonna get ripped off or not. So I never took the step, but I was like, man, now going back.
I remember in 1997, me and Nick were out searching flea markets and garage sales and all this stuff. We went to a local flea market, and a guy had a case of just old random hodgepodge action figures. But inside that case was a double telescoping Luke.
Oh no!
This is
Oh,
1997, so it was going for about $300 ish at the time. I think.
Yeah.
The guy wanted $100 for the whole case. I was 17 years old and didn't have $100. So I go beg my grandmother for $100,
Yeah,
and she would not give it to me.
Oh,
God rest her soul. Mean old woman.
man, I would have had to find. I would have found $100 somewhere.
Oh, I look. I told Nick I was 17, and me and Nick were like, "You distract him, and I'm just gonna take it."
Yeah.
Like we went back. I was literally about to steal this thing, and I did not have the brass to do it, so I didn't.
No. Yeah, that's tough. I wonder what happened to it. But
There's no telling that guy. I remember that guy. He was a piece of crap, but he passed away of cancer. But he had a huge collection of all kinds of stuff, and I actually went. He and his wife opened up a toy store. Just a bunch of used and new stuff. And I went into his toy store after he passed away. I didn't know it was even his store until I started talking to the wife, the owner of the store. I realized it then. Well, she had all these X-Men Toy Biz 1990s in the package all around the store. And she sold them all to me for $5 a piece. And I was so tickled, to get that.
yeah, around the same time I traded. Batman the Animated Series villains were really hot in those, and I was online then on Party American Online, and I traded all my villains on card for a double tip Luke Skywalker figure.
Oh yeah, that's a good trade.
And then it broke.
Oh my gosh!
I had it for about 3 years, didn't put it in a case, just sat it on a shelf, and then one day I looked over and the tip part was just broken in half.
Yeah. Yeah, they do that. That little that inner piece is fragile.
Yeah, and I was like, man, so I was like, I'll never have a double tip one again. So I was like, well, at least I had one at one time.
Yeah. Well, hey, you'll get one again. You'll get one again.
Yeah. Well, I only buy anything now if it's a deal.
That's my rule. If I can't get it at a deal, if I can't get it less than what I can sell it for, I absolutely am not going to buy it. There's no
and that's the problem with Star Wars since about at least 2000, but the mid 90s. Once Star Wars came back, everybody saw Star Wars and threw it up on Craigslist and eBay and thought they had a gold mine.
Oh, I know.
There's been a lot. There in the early 90s, I used to hit yard sales and could find stuff. But now if anybody just sees, even if it's that stuff in the 90s not worth nothing, somebody throwing up, double the price.
And the competition is at an all-time high. When you and I were talking about those websites that we scour, how many times in the last 10 years has Coach and that Junkman probably been searching the same sites at the same time, looking for the same stuff, and
trying to bid and getting outbid by each other, not knowing it.
Well, and that's another rule I have is like I never bid until the very end.
Really?
I'm a sniper only.
Yeah. When I go to eBay, I search what's ending soon.
Now, if I am, oh man, I went to an auction one time. I learned this. Nick was with me at this auction. So they had Star Wars toys at this auction and a bunch of other stuff too. Care Bears, Ghostbusters, just tons of stuff. Well, they also had a lot of Fostoria glassware. And my wife and my mother-in-law they were like, we need you to buy as much of that Fostoria glassware as you could buy. And I'm like, for real? And they were like, yes. Well, the glassware came out before the toys, Junkman. So I'm sitting in the front row, and I'm not looking at anybody. And I'm bid, bid. I am winning every freaking box of glass you could have. I am going after them so aggressive, and it got to the point because I wouldn't look at anybody, and I was like the mysterious man. Nobody would compete with me. Nobody. Like a couple times I heard it when I bid, they were like, "Well, forget that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna win that." So when the toys came out, I had no competition. I just racked up and got them all. It was the luckiest thing that ever happened.
Well, you've been very lucky.
Yes, I have,
and that's
it's been so much fun, man.
Yeah, that's one thing I've really missed about collecting, or I'm not into it as much, is once the internet came along, that fun just, that hunting. Me and my friend would go out on Saturday, leave in the morning, hit yard sales, hit antique places, and then hit comic book stores and hit whatever we could. And you would find stuff here and there. You might have a bad day every once in a while, but you would usually find at least one or two things.
When a lot of times, even today, you can go to those places. Like when we go on vacation, I always visit the local comic shops.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but occasionally you'll get lucky because they won't know what they have.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Comic books places will also usually take less than they're asking for it.
Yeah, that's exactly because
they
need
want
the
to
money.
move it off. Yeah.
Yeah, they need the money. So I went into a comic book store in Montgomery, Alabama, and I said, "Do you guys have any Star Wars figures? Any old Star Wars figures?" And the guy was like, "I actually have a case of figures back here. We've never even opened them up." He opened them up. He said, "So are you interested in these?" Man, it had Luke, a bunch of the droids, some weapons, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm interested." They were like, "So how much will you give me for it?" Well, I mean, I told him a price. I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah,
there's $500 worth of toys there. I'm not about to give you $500. I'm not about to give you $300, but I'll go too. Yeah. So I told the guy $175, and he said, "I'll take it." And I said, "Thank you," and it's great.
Yeah, I like when they tell me what they want first.
It's not my responsibility to tell you how much it's worth. If you're the seller, that's your responsibility. Now, I'm not trying to dig you. And if you ask me, I'm going to be honest. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If they say, "Do you know how much this is worth?" I'll tell them if they ask me. But they got to ask me.
Yeah. And, there's a lot, too. You got to know if they're loose or tight figures. You got to know if they got the weapons or not and everything. So when people just say, "Hey, what's this worth?" You're like, "I don't know." You've got to look at each one.
Well, and even worse today is that we're in the era of it's a Star Wars toy. It doesn't even have its weapon, but I'm going to ask you $100 for it. Yeah, and I'm like, that's a $7 figure, Holmes. Like what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I do a series. I don't know if you've seen a series of videos from Craigslist where I look at Craigslist ads, and it'd be people with
seen you do that.
Yeah, like an arm missing off a Luke Skywalker or something, and they want $100 for it.
You know what irritates me about Craigslist is you see a post and you click on it, and it's actually an ad. It's somebody asking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go the freak away, man. Go to the ad section and do that.
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, I hadn't really had any luck in years on Craigslist. I think most people have moved away from it, but I did get the Cheryl Tidarian on Craigslist for like $75.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So I think you heard this story. My last Craigslist find was a what do they call it? A storage room full of vintage G.I. Joe. When I say, I mean a real American hero G.I. Joe. And most of them were all graded. 1982, we're talking about Straight Arms, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, all this stuff. And the guy wanted like $5,000 for it. I paid him the $5,000 for it, goods and services. And I got a call from the police. It was actually a stolen collection.
Oh, man, I remember you saying
that. But that was about a $25,000 collection of G.I. Joe. And I was going to sell every flippin'. See, that's the thing. When you've got the knowledge that you have, that I have, that a lot of people in the chat have, we can buy a collection and sell it to go buy another collection that we actually want.
Right.
I have to move some pieces to be able to go afford the big pieces that I want. You know what I mean?
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.